This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.
We are back with Cindi DuMond, Don't Despair Coaching. That's right. That's her job, and she's helping so many people through so many hard times. And we're going to talk about grief, and we all suffer from it, right? Whether you're a high-performing individual, a caretaker, just a normal everyday person, a mother, a father. A lot of times, we need some help. And as an RN, she has an amazing background, and she's been doing this for quite some time. So first and foremost, Cindi DuMond, welcome to the show. How are you?
Hi there, Jill. Thank you. What a
Uh,
nice introduction.
well, pleasure to have you. And for those that don't know, just tell us a little bit about yourself. Thank you.
I was a licensed funeral director and also a pediatric home care nurse for 30 years. And what I found was I would see firsthand clients, people suffering, grieving, sorrowful, and just not having tools to manage, or to cope. So it really became my mission to help people move through grief in a healthy, empowering way. And the coaching and consulting that I do, it really allows my clinical knowledge to guide people towards healing and peace.
Oh, well, thank you. And, it's always good to start off just a little bit for those that may not know, just a little of your background, right? Which specifically led you to this grief, counseling in a sense and coaching.
Yeah, well, it actually started. I didn't get to see my dad a lot, and once in a while he would take me for a treat. He had two jobs, so he'd deliver flowers for a florist. And once in a while I got to go with him, and it was such a treat. I remember when he delivered flowers to funeral homes, he would sneak me in the prep room, and that's like the first really recognition that I've had with it. Just the littlest things that you could do for people at that horrible time in their life has really become my life mission.
Beautiful. Well, we're excited you're here today to help us. And
Thank
we know that
you.
grief, though, it really is a personal journey for so many people and could be very isolating, right? So, what are some misconceptions you think about grief? Let's kind of debunk those types of myths today, if you don't mind. Is that okay?
Yes, I'd love to. There's actually quite a few. The first one that I can think of is that grief is about death. A lot of people will say, well,
Yeah.
nobody's died, but
But,
divorce,
mhm.
loss of health, even being a caregiver,
Oh,
uh, job loss, abortion, adoption, empty nest, our pets dying, anything that um, when something precious to us is lost and we're sorrowful, can be considered grief.
yeah. Well, that is a myth, right? Because I know you think grief right away, you think death, but it's not that. There's personal. I feel like everyone went through grief during COVID, right? And we kind of learned, wow, everyone's dealing with this. Or wait, hey, I'm getting divorced. Or hey, what's going on with, my children? They're gone. My neighbor's friends just left for college, and then their family, and everyone's like, oh my gosh, empty nest. So it's a lot of these transitions that also define grief. Obviously, thank you.
Exactly. Another one is that grief is linear.
Yeah.
Like there's a start and a finish, and there's really no set rhyme or reason. You could be, having a good day, and all of a sudden the crap hits the fan. So, in truth, grief, it doesn't follow a clock. And it's really not ever something that you get over or finish, but it really becomes a part of you, and
Hmm.
kind of woven into your story, but it doesn't have to define you. And that's why I love what I do.
Oh, and that's why we love how passionate you are about this. So you say it's not something you get over or finish, it becomes a part of you, right? So it gets woven into your story in a sense, but it doesn't define you. I love that. But does grief mean being sad all the time?
No, that's actually a good question. A lot of people think that it is, but it's actually multi-layered because it's a complex mix of emotions. You can have anger, guilt, sadness, irritability, numbness. forgetfulness, and even relief at times. I think of like an old cat that might be peeing all over your house, but you love it, but yet you feel relief when it's gone. And then you can feel guilty for feeling relief. So it's just like this circle that goes around. But even physical symptoms like headaches, stomach aches, muscle aches, nausea, things like that can be really from suppressing our grief.
Hmm. And I know you're going to help us move forward and I guess, get rid of this type of grief, right? And you mentioned there's physical symptoms of this, right?
Yes. Yeah, definitely. Like I had mentioned, stomach aches, headaches, um, just burying our, because we don't want to deal with it. Who wants to think about things? But when we bring them to the surface and acknowledge them, just
Mm-hmm.
like just like you would a child that was suffering, you wouldn't tell them to go away.
No,
You want to
no.
sit there and acknowledge them.
Got it. All right, Cindi DuMond here joining us. We are talking about grief coaching and going over some common misconceptions. If you are just tuning in, we're here debunking them. What's next on our list? I think we're up to number 4, is it?
Yeah, grief ends when you find closure.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want to take that word closure is such a myth. Instead of closure, I like to use the word integration. And we're really trying to learn to live with the loss and find meaning and connection and joy again. And that's what that integration looks like, where it's woven into your story. And it can actually become a beautiful thing.
Mm-hmm.
Strong people don't grieve. That's another misconception.
They may try to
Um,
hide it better, though. Let's be honest.
and then it comes out in those other ways that we talked about. But it's really love that has nowhere to go. And I think that is just so beautiful, whether it's loss of a job, but it's, that love that doesn't have anywhere to go. So we just give it a new path.
Oh,
Yeah. What else? Talking about grief makes it worse. This is a big, big misconception, I think. So many people don't want to, like, if it is death, don't want to ask or talk. But I find in my research that even mentioning the person's name that passed away, really,
yeah.
in conversation and acknowledging it, it actually releases pressure on that person and helps regulate their nervous system, which is always a good thing. But when we can express grief in healthy ways, like talking or writing, or even physical movement, like putting some music on and dancing or taking a walk, just small things, especially if you don't have energy, it's really essential for healing.
Got it. Well, also, I mean, we're debunking our myths here. So talking about it makes grief worse, some people might say, right? What? Is that true?
No, definitely not. No, like I said, that acknowledgement
Is, oh,
is
go ahead.
it's like gold for some
Mm.
people. Just being present with that person makes a world of difference.
Now, you mentioned that grief isn't linear. Can you really explain a little bit further into what that means?
Yeah. A lot of people think when it's linear that it follows a certain path. Um, our our audience might have heard of the 5 stages of grief. I'll mention them here: denial, anger,
Mm.
bargaining, depression, and acceptance. So a lot of people think, oh, okay, well, it's been 3 months. I should be in acceptance, and it doesn't work like that. I had mentioned earlier, um, there's no, it's really cyclical. And like I said, one day you could be feeling wonderful and the next day you're depressed again. And we just move in and out of these stages. And I think it's really important to just acknowledge it, you know?
Well, also significant loss, right? Let's talk about how you can start to heal from this. Where does it start? Could you share a little bit about how you would help someone with this healing process?
Absolutely. I mean, this is for anybody, just creating a safe space for grief. This can mean taking time off from work, seeking support, or even engaging in like rituals to honor the loss. And that can be as simple as, lighting a candle, or, maybe getting some pictures or some things you loved about your job and just putting them in like a box, or, and having that box just with your own little remembrances. I think that's important. But above all, I think is self-compassion is so important. Reminding ourselves that it's okay to feel our emotions and that we don't have to have a set timeline. I think it's just so important.
Well, let me ask, people though sometimes are, or can I say feel stuck, right? Hard
Yeah.
to kind of move forward. And, when you say that they're kind of stuck, could you just maybe dive into that a little bit more about, their feelings and why they can't move forward?
Yeah. Well, a lot of times it's painful. A lot of
Yep.
times you don't have people to talk to, right? You don't want
Hmm.
to burn out your friends or your coworkers, right? There's some shame in that, I think. So I feel like acknowledging what you're going through is the most important thing. Um, Grief gets stuck because there's so many things that are left unsaid or undone, and these things just have never been fully expressed. So one of the things you could do is write a letter that's never going to be sent,
Yeah.
to express those feelings. And you could even have a conversation with someone in your mind, or the way you wish the scenario would have gone.
Yeah.
And another important thing, if someone's feeling stuck, is just to acknowledge that healing takes time, and if you are feeling stuck, it doesn't mean that you're not healing. It's just part of the journey. So be patient with yourself.
All right, that's good to know. Also, let's move on over and discuss a little bit about writing, that letter, right? That maybe it's a good idea, right? To write a letter to someone and acknowledge everything in the letter, and then what do you do with the letter?
You can rip it up, you can burn it. That's good. Even watching it burn, I think is very therapeutic, very healing.
Yeah.
Just don't send it if you don't want to.
No, no, absolutely. And as you said, it's very important to get professional help. And let me also, ask you, you do some mindfulness and grounding exercises. Is that something that can help us and those struggling with grief?
Absolutely. There's a simple practice of just breathing. You can, no matter where you can, well, not if you're driving, but
Yeah.
close your eyes. You can put your hand on your heart and just take a breath in and say, I'm here. And then when you exhale, you can say, I'm safe. I'm here. Inhale and exhale, I am safe. And what that does is it gets us out of our head and more into our body. Another thing is, I had mentioned on a previous episode, is the five senses. What do
Okay.
I see? What do
Mm-hmm.
I hear? What do I taste? What do I feel? So once again, it gets us out of that head, that ruminating, those thoughts, and back into our body. And then the last thing I'd say is gratitude, just being
Mm-hmm.
grateful, even for the small things, that you got up today, that you were able to make a cup of tea or coffee. So gratitude also pulls us out of that.
Beautiful. Love to
Yeah.
hear that. Thank you for that. And also, could you just share a little bit about maybe some advice? Someone out there is listening today, and there's someone who's grieving, family, a friend, anyone. What advice would you give to that someone out there who maybe is trying to help support that person in their life that's struggling right now?
Yeah. Well, that can be very challenging because when it's somebody we care about, oftentimes we feel powerless, right? We want to fix their pain. But I think the best thing you can do is just be present.
Mm,
Just be present with them, whether it's a phone call, a check-in, um, with no judgment or no advice, unless, of course, they ask for it.
yeah.
So I really feel like that's, letting them know that their pain is acknowledged. And you can even ask them, hey, how can I support you? Maybe it'll be nothing at all, but maybe there is something that you can do. So,
Aw. Well, thank you for that. And speaking of, now let me ask, in conclusion, we still have quite a few more minutes to talk, but talk a little bit about the emotional healing, physical healing, and the time it takes, because it's not an overnight process for most, right? I mean, it's different for everyone, but let's share the timeline. Do you have any insight on how long normal grief is? Could it be years, months? Is there an average? Is there anything that we could know about that?
well, like I said, it's very cyclical,
Yeah.
right? And it doesn't have a timeline. So, and it depending on what we're talking about, right? Are we
Yeah.
talking about death? Are we talking about, a job you had for a few weeks? Are we talking about a minor fender bender that, so it really depends. But one thing I want to say is when we have physical pain, say I broke a bone, God forbid, right? But say I broke a bone, I wouldn't
Yeah.
expect to go walk on it tomorrow.
No,
But,
no.
but really, with that emotional pain, we just don't, we just, I think we're really hard on ourselves when it comes to emotional pain.
I agree. I totally agree. I think we all are. Well, let me ask, how can you help us? I know you offer people the option to, talk to you. It's a complimentary session, right? And what happens during this process of speaking to someone?
Oh, there's all different, definitely all different ways that I help people, so many different ways. Um, I even have a lot of things on my website, but a lot like I don't do talk therapy. That's not what I do. I teach tools,
Hmm.
to really move you on your journey. I also don't keep clients for years because the tools that I do offer move people on their journey quickly, which is just amazing. Um, I also, one of the ways that I'm different is that I have premium service enhancements, I like to call them, that come with my coaching. I have them listed here so that I wouldn't forget. But my clients get the full Zoom recording
Okay.
so that they can rewatch it at their leisure, a WhatsApp weekly check-in so that they're not alone. It's not like
Yeah.
our session ends and I move on to the next person. I give them within 24 hours comprehensive call notes. So during our session, they can be fully present with me. They don't have to take notes.
Oh gosh, that's amazing, because I'm always there taking notes, and I'm always like, then yeah, then you don't, yeah. Wow, that's a good thing. Wish most
And
people did that. Yeah.
yeah, and my favorite is I'm able to give them custom personalized worksheets and
Hmm.
journal prompts for homework. So they're integrating everything in our session throughout the week. We have that one WhatsApp call during that week, and then you're ready for your second session. And I love it. It really
Oh,
works.
beautiful. And you're doing now these on Zoom phone calls, or how do we do it? Because some people might not, right, be in this world of Zoom, but is it better to be on a Zoom?
I actually have an office in Daytona Beach, Florida that I see clients at. So depending on the situation, yeah. Yeah.
Yay. All right. And, just for those that may not know, you've been doing this for quite some time. I know you gave a little bit of your overview in the beginning, but if you are just tuning in, I mean, you really have had such a long longevity of a career to help people break loss, break the cycles, and get over loss. And do you want to share a story or two about someone you've helped? It'd be great to hear, how this type of grief coaching could help. It's always good. Thank you.
Um, I can say that people feel better after the first session. I humbly say that, but it's true.
Yeah.
Um, I have helped couples save marriages. This is amazing work. Stories. Um, I've had people time after time after time tell me that, wow, I've been in therapy for years, and no, I'm not throwing any shade at therapy. Oftentimes coaching and
Yeah.
traditional counseling work really well together.
Hmm.
Um, but it's wonderful to hear that, because then it knows that I am in my life's purpose and I'm doing exactly what I'm supposed to be doing. I just thought of another one and then it escaped me. Oh, physical pain. I've been able to take people's physical pain away. Yeah, through
Wow.
this work. Yeah, back pain specifically and headaches. So I really, it's once again, it's moving that, they get stuffed down. We stuff them down, and those feelings, those emotions, and once we acknowledge them, poof, they go somewhere else. They're not trapped in our bodies anymore.
Hmm. Well, that's beautiful. And, people out there who are really feeling desperate and down and out. And I mean, let's tell them there's also this program. What is it called? The adult
Yep, the adult
chair.
chair. I'm
You're the
a,
mess. Could you just
yes,
share what that means in your
sure.
certification? Thank you.
Yes, I'm a certified adult chair master coach. And after 16 years in traditional therapy and counseling, when I fell across this Michelle Chalfon's podcast, one time, I was like, wow, this just makes so much sense. And it's basically, there's three parts of us. There's the inner child, there's the ego, the adolescent, and then there's the healthy adult. And 95 to 97% of the population is running around
Hmm.
in that middle ego adolescent chair. So who's running your company? Who's going to work today? Is it the child? Is it that adolescent? Or is it your healthy adult? And that's why I'm so successful, because I point you to that healthy adult that's inside of you, before the world put whatever happened to you on top of you. So it's really quite beautiful.
And even though, let me ask this question, you help people with grief. Have you suffered your own grief? You empathize with these people fully, right?
Absolutely. I
Yeah.
have been estranged from my family of origin for too many decades to count. It's at
Uh,
least two. I was divorced after 23 years of marriage. And my daughter, who was born
mm,
typical, became ill at 14 and ended up having a brain injury. So yeah, so she's a miracle. She was supposed to not be here or be in a nursing home the rest of her life, and she actually lives on her own with assistance. So I'm really blessed. So yes, I've had my, you
fair
know,
share of ups and downs, like all
yeah,
of us. And it's
yes,
good to be able to
exactly.
empathize with someone and to trust in someone. And Cindy DuMond, again, as a registered nurse, I mean, you have so many different modalities and tools in your toolbox, shall I say, right?
Literally.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Well, in closing today, how did you want to leave off for everyone?
Well, I want you to remember that grief is not something that you get over. I think that's the main thing. It's really something that we integrate. And I have done it in my own life and on my own journey. So if what I'm talking about does resonate with
Resonate.
you,
Yep.
yeah, I'd be happy. I've cleared some space in my calendar for these discovery calls, and you can reach me at don'tdespaircoaching.com/free call. Um, my website is don'tdespaircoaching.com. I have, you can explore my blog on there. It's really interesting. It's filled with insights to support you and your journey. I also have a grief toolbox on there. Like I said, a literal toolbox with free downloads that, once again, to support you on your journey. And I also have a community that I nurture and I love,
Beautiful.
that I just send reflections to that really don't get published anywhere else. So
Well, thank you so much, Cindy Dumont, for being here and for all you do. Wishing you a very happy and healthy start of what feels like the fall season. I don't know about where you are, but it's a little
yes,
chilly here in New York today. So, well, thank you so much for everything, for your time, for your amazing detailed notes, and thank you for helping so many people.
I love it.
I
Thank you.
know
And
you do.
I'll see you next week. We got 2 more.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. And you can email me direct if you want like that, okay?
Will
Thank you.
do.
All right, bye,
All right.
sweetheart.
Bye. Thank you. Mwah.
This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.